Welcome back. Another thrill-packed Friday afternoon. Today is, oh man, December 5th. It was just Halloween. It was
Yeah,
just Thanksgiving. And now it's Christmas.
now we move into the end of the year.
Ooh, this is the happiest time of the year.
Yeah, for some people.
No, it's always good. Let's see. Today it's gonna be 86 and sunny in Florida. I saw snow up there. You
Yeah, we had snow flurries today in Jersey.
nutty, kooky people. Wisconsin, I saw snow. Detroit had snow. Well, good. That's good for the environment. As long as it stays up there.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't have to travel down to Florida.
That's right. We've got a barrier.
Yeah, we got
Uh,
to.
yeah. Boy, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but I don't know. November flew by like light speed. Boom. Now we're in December and it's the 5th already. That means next week is like halfway there.
Yeah, it's the 5th already because Thanksgiving was pretty much the end of November.
You know, thank you, because everything was all out of whack.
Yeah, it was.
People I talk to who aren't in, what day is this today? Well, I
You,
think it's this day. Oh, it's Chris. Wait a minute. What happened? So,
you had companies in years having to end their month of sales before Thanksgiving.
right. Wow. Huh. Well, cool.
Usually doesn't happen that way.
Mm-mm.
You usually have a week after.
Yeah. So people could recover and stuff like that. Let's see well, it's been busy for us, very busy. Yeah, we can't think of anything that happened in the copier industry today though, or this week. HP released some financials. Lee, did you say they were good, bad, and different?
So they're up the net revenue 14.6 billion, which is 4.2% year over year, and this is the sixth consecutive quarter of revenue growth. So that that's good news for them.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
The performance was led by their continued strength in their personal systems segment that delivered 7.9% year over year growth, bringing it to a total of 10.4 billion. And the AI PCs, that was a big story, is now over 30% of their total PC mix. So, that's definitely grabbing some traction in the marketplace for sure.
How about their print and copy or
That was
print?
down slightly, which they kind of expected. Tariffs didn't make anything any easier, although they have, mitigated a lot of those issues earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So printing, it was to be exact, is down 4.2% to 4.3 billion. Um, The operating profit was 805 million, which is 18.9% of their margin. But that's down 69 million from last year. The supplies revenue is down 3.6%. Um, revenue declined. Consumer revenue declined by 9%.
So, so Lee, with
Holy crap.
tariffs and having increased costs,
Mhm.
shouldn't the revenue have increased?
So the offsetting that is going to be just decreased sales because of higher prices. Although I believe HP did say that they were able to mitigate all of what they thought they would lose, be it between the price increases and the moving of production around.
So, do you think people were putting off
Oh, for
printer
sure.
and MFP purchases?
Yeah, they had mentioned that. Several OEMs had mentioned that in their earnings statements throughout the year that there was a lot of delayed investments because of tariffs. People didn't want to have a machine that works fine. Why spend more money, especially when it's getting more expensive. But these folks believe that in the next going into 2026 that these like deferred investments are going to actually be made. Uh,
Interesting.
the other, I guess, the good news out of their earnings too is that their subscription businesses like HP All-In Plan and Instant Ink are continuing to grow at double-digit rates, and that's a big part of HP's strategy is getting building out these recurring revenue streams and getting people hooked into their uh, higher high the higher profit margin devices.
Hmm.
Got it. It's interesting. I haven't had one client tell me that they're putting off their purchase or lease because of higher tariffs in the last 4 or 5 months.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
It's
Uh,
because they're not.
well, yeah. I mean, maybe they're starting to spend now.
Yeah, well, not this quarter.
Oh, hey, anything on their production, their Indigos?
That I did not cover.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I'd be curious. Yeah, no, I mean, no biggie. Figured because
I think I
so
got a little tidbit here. Hold on.
that's got to be what, the 16th consecutive quarter of a decrease?
Um, it's for the commercial printing, it's down 4.2% year over year. Placements are down 12%.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, I didn't expect that. 12%. Dang.
That's big.
4%'s big. That's 12%.
Yeah. And look at how big of the number they're working from, you know?
Oh, all right. Gee whiz. That's
Oh,
news. I mean, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. There was one other important story I think that came out of their earnings report was they did announce that they would be cutting 4 to 6 thousand jobs, I think by the end of next year, which is more signs of look when the pie gets smaller, all you can do is try to win a bigger slice of that smaller pie and be able to do things more efficiently, and that's where your growth comes from. So I mean, labor is expensive, and I guess they figured ways around not having to use it to achieve their goals.
Was that US or just worldwide?
That I believe was U.S.
It's pretty substantial.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, it isn't for HP. That's they lop off thousands at a time. I mean, this is deja vu from what, 2009, 2011,
2008,
12.
That
2009.
it is
Yeah.
global, the global workforce.
Oh, it
So
is global.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, did you happen to cover Xerox by any chance, Lee?
That was a few weeks ago.
Right.
Um,
I'm wondering, you know,
Xerox is a mess.
they're a mess.
let's
I,
see.
I think they were paying point
Yeah, that's
two
right.
two. I think we mentioned this. They were paying two
Yeah.
cents on
Yeah,
their dividends.
I do remember talking about that with you guys.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a quarter, and you corrected me, and it's
Yeah,
2.5 cents.
yeah. You're not used to going that far past the
No,
decimal.
the decimal's supposed to be right there, not one over.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're in cost per copy territory with those dividends, you know.
you are. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
My,
man.
my wife always tells me I've in all these years become an expert at counting pennies.
Oh,
Fractions
that's
of pennies.
that's true. Unfortunately. Wow. Okay, so some things did happen this week then. HP coming through strong. Ah, I just all right. Well, they have pretty printers though. Their printers are pretty,
Yeah.
just
All
like
printers are pretty.
Panasonic's.
Speaking of Panasonic, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
derail the conversation, but I pass their building in Newark all the time going to Devils games, and they don't light it up anymore. It used to have all these different colored floors,
Oh,
so that's disappointing. Anyway,
sign of the times. It's
yeah,
I'm surprised they still kept it going this long, but oh well. Oh well.
batteries,
Oh well.
batteries.
Um, boy, I
So
think
what's
that's
next on our agenda?
well. Copiers. It's well, Art. You tell me. What's the temperature like in tactically from account to account? What are you hearing?
Tactically,
Yeah,
the only thing I can say is clients are going into weeds.
they're going. Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just going into weeds. It's very, very even with existing accounts and new account counts. It's no, it's very hard to do the follow-ups, even when you have some scheduled follow-ups and they all of a sudden forgot or didn't want to do the follow-up. Just a lot of clients in the weeds. I probably have 27 opportunities that could close in 60 days. And I would bet that a third has gone in the weeds when you try and make a phone call or send an email. So last week I actually had to resort to in-person visits to see,
Okay.
what the heck is going on. But my territory is so large, right? I mean, some of the and because I track a lot more of wide format systems than a regular MFPs, that's got me going further out in my territory.
Sure.
I could travel an hour or 2 hours, and then it becomes kind of crazy. Do you spend a 1 hour or 2 hours to just go travel to an account to do a stop in because they're not, they're in the weeds.
Right.
So that's the decision I got to make this week. I'm probably going to make those trips 1 or 2 hours to go stop in because I'm not hearing back from them.
Yep. Yep. Remember when it was normal? I mean, I did that out in LA, and there was no way you could travel anywhere without it being at least 45 minutes. So, the old territory management trick back then.
Right.
And then as things got remote, it got easier to handle bigger geographies because you could, do a Zoom, do a whatever.
Right.
And going back, that's really interesting.
As long as but the item is now is just, I don't know if everybody's preparing for an early Christmas, or they still got a little bit of a hangover from Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah, maybe it's what we were just talking about, right? Because
So
the rhythm.
it's interesting because if you think back, I mean, I would have to go through some notes, but if I think back to the week after Thanksgiving, when Thanksgiving was like the third week of December,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably think it would be at least the first couple days back, the Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
maybe the Wednesday. Might not be as busy because maybe some people are still traveling. And the month ending, December ending before Thanksgiving, could have put a lot of extra pressure on businesses to get all those numbers in and everything else done. And maybe just this week, I'm seeing and how can I say everything that all that stuff comes to a boiling point at one time.
Right. It's a convergence of all these. I think
Yeah.
actually, I'm not making excuses, but I think you're right because a lot of people were complaining that, wow, we're doing Christmas decorations so early when we really weren't. Thanksgiving was late.
Thanksgiving was extremely late. I can't
Extremely.
remember Thanksgiving this being this late in many, many
No.
years.
So that week between, you're right. So you have Thanksgiving, then you have a week where people recover, and then okay, it's the push through the end of the year. It starts.
Correct. Now the
This
push through the
time
end of the year is going to be a week late.
it's too late. Yeah, we're already doing it. Now we're doing Christmas parties. We're doing Christmas decorations. All those things took place. Wow, that rhythm just got all jacked up. I wonder. I'd be very interesting to see if that's a tendency across the country. Just
Yeah. I'd love to hear
that's
from others
interesting.
as well. And then you take into the 5-year COVID effect on the leases.
Oh yeah.
That's not helping any dealer out with revenue as far as I know.
No, no, it wouldn't. The only thing you're capping is your service contracts if they maintain those. I would imagine. Wow, wow. Good
I know
time to
what the answer
diversify.
is.
Yeah, I know what the answer is.
Yeah, go out and sell more robots.
Robots. Sell more. Sell one. Ha! I dare you. I double dog dare you. You sell one, you're gonna end up selling 150 or 400. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. So robots, it's been pretty good here. Yeah, again, right? We had the POC down in Tampa, then we had our webinar, then it
Yep.
was Thanksgiving, and now it's like no wonder we're all out messed up. Things are just flying through. And the webinar was a success. We still have lots of good contacts going on.
Yep.
Our
Quite a few
OEMs,
leads.
yeah, new leads off of that. The OEMs are coming around, the robotic OEMs. We're actually solidifying really good relationships with these guys. So very interesting. And again, we had conversations earlier this week or today, they're mentioning copier dealers,
Yes, they are.
which is, it kind of cracks me up, but it's like, all right, so they're getting it from both ends.
Yep. Then we have
We're right.
ECS coming up in February.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
We have, I guess we're going to have the Pudu
We've got
webinar in
another
January.
Nothing. We haven't even talked to anyone about it. But yeah, we did solidify we'll have another OEM robotic OEM office ready robot rollout in January. So that'll be those guys are cool. I mean, I don't like to say like the last one we did was really cool, and that was a tray, right, that moved around on its own. It's just actually that's actually pretty cool too. That thing has so you can load different, you can put different configurations together on that thing. That's cool. But then our next one is, I mean, Poodoo's got all sorts of cool things,
You know what
right?
impressed me
What?
is the ideas for options that they're coming up with
Uh,
for their existing fleet.
Yeah, I imagine our dealers are going to bite down on that. I mean, wait, you can do this? Yeah, it's not like a
I can add this.
you can. Yeah, it's like an extra paper tray.
Uh-huh.
It's a
A,
large capacity.
a stapler,
It's a. You want to do the stapler? The what? Yeah, yeah.
a hole punch.
Well, I like your idea. I don't know how we can do it power wise, but you throw the MFP on top of the Poodoo and let it follow you around. So, how about this? You don't go to the copier; it comes to you.
Yeah. Needs a big long cord.
Big long cord. Well, we can do some Tesla Wi-Fi electricity. Lee can help us with that. Whip that up.
Yeah, very true.
So yeah, and boy, I'll tell you what. I don't know if did you guys see the new? It seems like every week. I think it was yesterday or the day before. The videos come out from Tesla's robot figure. I think it was a figure. It's one of those. And
The one
anything
with him, the one with it running.
it running. Yes.
Yes, I saw it, and then they slowed it down to like a quarter of a second, and what one person actually commented on how this looks so much like a human running. The
Yeah.
gait, the steps, the toe that flexes.
It was, and you're right to catch all those details. It was pretty. That was impressive to me. It's been a long time since I've seen something. I go, okay,
Uh,
that's pretty good. I actually was so good. I go, all right, wait a minute, wait a
He's
minute.
looking for somebody in the background.
I'm looking for someone in the costume. All
Oh,
right, that's
okay.
a stormtrooper, right? I'm thinking, wait a minute. Then I'm looking. Okay, is it AI? Because that's I'm looking. A lot of the offshore marketing pieces that you see with these robots running and dancing, right? There's a
Oh,
little AI going on with that.
well, not only AI, there's somebody off to the side
What I mean is
with
it's
a
being
joystick.
yeah, but it's a cartoon. It's being created in
Oh,
artificial
got it.
intelligence, like a
The
film
animation is being
anime.
created.
Yeah.
Correct.
Um, but then when I saw that one, I go, holy moly, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Did you read one of the comments on that? Was actually now only if they can get the fingers
It's the fingers.
as advanced as the running in the feet.
It's a matter of time. I just saw,
That's right.
and it'll happen. I just saw today something come through where they've got sensors on the tips. It's a telepresence thing, but it's almost there. So where when the robot touches something, if you have this glove on, you can feel the texture of the surface that the robot is touching. So that's just one more step into the touch. Oh, you guys probably did. So like 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? Could have been 2 days ago. What's his name? NVIDIA guy. What's his name? Jensen was on Joe Rogan. 2 hours. And I've listened to a lot of shows. This one was good because Jensen did most of the talking and he told the story of NVIDIA. I mean, it's classic. We're out of business. They were out of business twice and they got quote unquote rescued by Sega. I don't you
Oh,
remember
really?
Sega?
Wow. Yeah.
So my personal experience with NVIDIA starts back in 2001 or two or whenever it was gaming, right? Doom. I don't know if you guys are old enough to know what Doom, but there was no real gaming market, right? It was all the arcade games, right? And Sega was part of that. Um,
Yeah.
and what Jensen and his clans tried to do is create imaging. Boy, it's just a fascinating story. I'm not going to do it justice, but somehow he saw back in the early days a small group that took a camera, a video, and that vision was able to recognize everything it looked at. And this is back in the olden days, right? 80s, 90s, and that, but it was the only one who could do it. He went out there, grabbed that software, did something with it, and then they started to do imaging and build a chip. If you remember back then, you had different types of video graphics, you had VGA, SVGA, all this stuff.
Correct.
But you know, it was all there was at the time was good, but there wasn't that good. And most of the high end video or the video processing had to take place on a different chip or a different board than the microprocessor because it took up too much because like the imaging was too many calculations to get it right.
Correct. So
Anyway,
you needed to buy
a board.
a better board, put it in the slot, and
Right.
then everything ran faster.
Fast. I mean, like AutoCAD, you'd have to get an ACAD adapter that had high end and a RISC chip would be on it. So it would do all the processing. Anyway, so NVIDIA Jensen was thinking, well, we'll just make a chip, right? And it's funny, he went and after like 10 months in the deal designing this thing, they all woke up and says, this isn't going to work. It's never going to work. We went down the wrong path. And meanwhile, 10 or 8 or 10 other competitors were out there just banging it on these graphic boards.
Right.
He had to go back to Japan and talk to the guy who gave him the money. And he said, listen, I got to pull out of the project. We went down, it's not going to work. He apologized. I'm really sorry. You have $5 million left on the contract. So we're going to ask you, this is the great, we're going to ask you to let us out of the contract. And the guy says, oh, I understand. And I need the $5 million. It's like, wait, what? Yeah. Think of it as an investment. But if you don't give me that money, my whole company is going to dissolve. Right. So the guy gave him the money 2 days later. He invested in it.
Wow.
And that's what did it. Because then they changed the way that whatever he did, he changed the thought, came out with the 3DFX, the NVIDIA 3DFX. And this is what I remember. I don't know why. I had a laptop that had this NVIDIA chip in it. I didn't even know what it was. All right. Because, you know, Windows. But then I was running Doom and then Quake came out, which was super image intense. And that 3DFX just kicked in and killed the images look great. I go, wow. But I didn't know, you know, at the time, had no idea. But that's how I knew what NVIDIA was. They were a small company that did video something. That was it.
Right.
But the key was when that guy gave him that $5 million or $50 million dollars, they went and redesigned their approach. And that ended up being how he got hooked up with OpenAI, and their processors work better on transformers and stuff because of the way they designed the graphic addressability because of the $5 or $50 million he got when he was out of business. It's just mind blowing. The story is like, are you kidding me? You can't make that up. So I remember the day that they delivered a NVIDIA chip to OpenAI when what's his name was still there. Musk was still there. Right? They literally walked through the door with this box that was almost as big as an old IBM AT and handed it to him, and they signed it, and off it went. And then after that, that's when OpenAI started to blow up. So I think a few years later, it might have been 10 or 8 years later, Jensen is back in front of Musk, and he hands him this box that is no bigger than it might have been like the old cable converter boxes, that big. The exact same processing power that he gave him in that big box is in this little box, less power. It actually was 100 times faster, or 1,000.
Right.
It was just incredible how he's telling the story. And that's why, you know, so it comes out of gaming. Like Rogan was going bananas because he's going like, well, I built computers to play Doom on. I know exactly what you're talking about. He goes, it's going to be wild that one day they're going to look back on this. And it was all because of gamers. Because it was, and NVIDIA actually created that PC gaming world because his video would allow these programmers to now make cool games that looked even cooler. And I remember when it happened, it looked great. It's like, where did this come from? And then it just got even better and better. But well, I don't know where I was going with it. But
one of the things that happened to them was that NVIDIA had originally had the quadrilateral primitives is what their architecture was based on. And at the time, what happened was that's what they used for their DirectX platform.
DirectX, yeah.
But then what happened after that, what caused them the problem is that Microsoft came out with the triangle primitives. And so the NVIDIA's primitive wouldn't work on that program. So it was a conflict. Mm-hmm. So that's why they were 30 days away from being out of business, because obviously Microsoft was a bigger Flex than was a bigger muscle than NVIDIA was at the time. So that's kind of you're right. That was a good story, but that DirectX
Mhm.
platform was for their primitive was the issue.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, he mentioned that they didn't do triangles or something. He did curves. They did curves, and everyone else did triangles. That's what he said. I didn't know it was the Microsoft influence.
Microsoft had changed their entire standard over to triangle primitives,
Mm.
and that was where that's so literally they lost like 60% of their
Mhm.
resources just trying to decipher that problem, navigate that. And now what's crazy is NVIDIA is just went in and gave what $6 billion to their competitor to keep them in business,
Oh,
Intel, because
yeah,
they're circling the drain.
yeah.
So
I don't know how I didn't look. I know I remember when that was not that long ago, and I don't understand why, but there must be a reason. Because the Intel, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, they were circling the drain because they stuck with the wrong architecture or something like that. I mean, they're as far as I know, as an end user, they're out of date. Just like you know, I
If
don't understand why NVIDIA.
if
What can you get out of Intel?
if Intel went out, could NVIDIA then be a monopoly
Well,
no,
no,
and then
but
broken up?
no, the problem is there's a migration from CPUs to GPUs. And what's happening is the software in between CPUs and intelligence or memory is becoming displaced by firmware. So a GPU places the firmware not in close proximity, but basically in the direct path of computing. So you don't lose the latency of having that device sitting on a software package trying to interpret ones and zeros when a GPU can go beyond ones and zeros. It can go 1.1111.2222, and all of the spaces in there's a big void between 0 and 1 with a GPU, and there's no void. There's just space between 0 and 1 with a CPU. So basically, once again, Intel, when they realized the first time they were going to go out of business, is when they realized they couldn't compete with Asia to build memory,
Mhm.
and now they don't didn't realize that CPUs are going to have a shelf life of not much longer, and GPUs are going to be the predominant force in supercomputing and everything else coming forward.
Right. And that's kind of interesting because we talked earlier about how HP's personal systems is what was it 4%, 6% or something like that, and they said that their AI PCs was it 7%, Lee, that they increased, or what was the figures on
It
that?
was 30% of their
30%.
yeah.
So with that, Kevin, though, isn't HP or all of them just investing in the Intel technology if they're putting in regular chips?
Yeah,
Or
the
am I?
problem is that their problem is they're all surrendering to limits, and GPU doesn't have a limit. So basically, when you're sitting on the next frontier versus what is commercially acceptable, HP's always taken the easy route
Mm.
and gone with what's predictable versus what's speculative. And GPU farming is going to be that's where it's all at. I mean, I don't know if you've watched any of these GPUs against a CPU, and it's not even
Yeah.
it's literally at the speed of thought.
Right.
So that's kind of the one of the issues. I didn't want to hijack your conversation
You're
about
not. You're not. You're not at all. As a matter of fact, it's very interesting because it's everyone has the Intel. I'm just paraphrasing, but the Intel architecture versus, or I should say, a CPU architecture versus a GPU architecture. And I hear marketing say, "Well, this is our AI box. This is our AI chip," when it really isn't. Right? Is that? Am I?
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
And the other thing is like some of these companies are in bed with these contracts for they have them with for phones, they have it for other stuff. So it's
Oh
like
yeah.
doing the bundling on your computer and your telephone and everything else. Some of them are stuck in contracts for a while, and they're trying to make the most of that.
Right. Right.
So those are kind of some things that are kind of a big issue. So
Yeah. So, I mean, go down a little bit further to manufacture a GPU versus a CPU. Is it that big of a difference at the
um,
fab or the fab?
so to put it in perspective, it's a billion times more.
Okay.
So the answer is yes. And then the other thing is, um, I was trying to find this. I was going to give you this something kind of interesting here that you might want to peek at real quick. I follow a gal. So one of my best friends is worked forever at Intel, and he gave me the whole rundown of how all that stuff works. And but once quantum computers started becoming a big deal, the semiconductor breakthrough was like literally like the gold harvest. Okay, because now what they were able to do with these semiconductors just completely changed. Because once you eliminate software, which is the slowest thought in the whole
Mhm.
chain of everything, and GPUs and CPUs have all of the controlling. Quantum computing with Grover's algorithm, if you're familiar with any of that, it's just completely it's exponential. It's just amazing. I don't know. And so quantum computing is on the verge of, you know, it'll be in your phone before you know it.
Wow. So will quantum replace GPUs or work with or
Work with.
yeah.
So um, I'm going to give you. I'm obviously not a quantum thinker, right? I'm a little slow.
Well, this all has impact on what we were talking about too with our, you know, with the robots. I mean, these things don't take 20 years to get to it, right? So we're looking
Right.
at
Oh, no, no, no. Well, in fact, here's what's crazy. A company
oh,
called SMTU,
yeah.
they're the largest chip maker in the world. And I don't know if you know this or not, but they've been quietly building these chip plants in Arizona, and another company has been building them in Texas. But they're literally redirecting rivers to run through these plants to do the cooling for the supercomputing. It's literally like this the quietest frontier that nobody knows about.
Never heard.
I
I mean, yeah.
Have you heard of any of this?
Oh,
I
I've heard of yeah, I've heard of the S and then TMSC or whoever the
SMT,
STMU. Yeah.
yeah, SMTU,
yeah.
yeah, I think they're
When
the
Yeah.
I, when I was out in Phoenix a couple of years ago, driving to Tucson, my brother actually showed me the huge facility they're building.
it's almost a city, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was massive. Sitting in the valley between the two mountains.
Yeah, it's literally so if people think they understand, you know, PCs and desktops and all this, there's a whole nother world coming real quick here.
Yeah. 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 I mean, just to reflect, so I mean, we're running into it when we try and sell and talk about robots. We're, you know, and it's the world is totally, totally different right now. And everyone, I swear that, you know, from enterprise, not even small, well, not small, but from every business structure is old fashioned. Every hierarchy is out of date. Every decision process is too slow because it's all based in 19 or 1800s philosophies, 1915s business. And here's the other thing is nobody knows. There's no way to predict. You are surfing and responding as things happen. I dare you to do a 5-year business plan. I
Oh, no,
double
that's
dog dare you. There's no way. Right.
no,
So
not an option.
no, no, and you know, I tease. Well, we we already know what we need to know because we can't learn everything. We just got to rely on what we know right now, and not fall into the old model and the old rhythms. That's what's happening with AI implementations. 95% of them fail because you're trying to run it through, you know, an elementary school system structure, a high school system, higher ed. You're trying to do, you know, a flow of two-dimensional flow and hierarchy, a decision process that is redundant, and this whole new stuff cuts through that.
Hey,
Just
hey, Greg.
cuts through it.
This is Dan. I was just going to chip in there on.
Hey, Dan.
Hey,
Sure.
you know, with regards to that, and really what we've been seeing is just that speed. I mean, it just, you know, with our the way that we're approaching, you know, things. I just had a customer yesterday that I put a little prototype out of a very specific business need they had for producing a document via PDF parsing it apart and generating a table and having it be boom in, in a very short amount of time. I showed it to him today and he's like, that's 80% of what I need. I need that like now.
Hmm.
Like not 6 months from now, not 18 months from now, now. And so that speed seems like that just wasn't possible a year or two ago. And
No,
so,
yeah.
yeah, you're right.
Maybe even 6 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, even 6 months ago. So those that are agile, it seems like right now, we're able to move and take advantage of some of those opportunities to plug some of the holes that maybe some of the other folks out there just can't do right now.
Well, no, I mean, it goes back to my whole anti-SaaS, anti-CRM, all those movements we talked about a million times. Excel does 100% of stuff and I only use 1% of their functionality.
Right.
It's all overbloated. The Windows sucks, DOS sucks, all those operating systems suck. They suck. And then they're just too big. Microsoft's huge. They're all ready to tumble and they're all fighting for survival because I think they see it. I hope, well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that's why you see all these layoffs. The systems are redundant. We've got redundant systems, and that's how we made the world work. How many times I've done this? You go into a business, you do a needs assessment, you walk out in the parking lot and go, how in the hell did they do anything? How did they get anything done? How does a product come out of the back door when it takes them 50 meetings to decide what color the font on their website's going to be? It's like, how the hell does this thing work? And all that kind of redundancy is gone. You throw AI and these new chips, the new technology, like what you said, Dan, you're doing something that you couldn't have done 12 months ago. Well, here's the 6 months from now, he won't need you.
Right. Right.
I mean, nothing personal, but
No, no, it's not personal at all. And it's
right.
just and looking at things, now it's more of like how can some of these tools be staff augmentation because nobody has enough people to get the work done right now. So that's where it might plug the hole. But who knows? Like you said, a 5-year business plan. Good luck, good luck with that.
Yeah. Jensen did say something that stuck with me. He said something about the jobs. Everyone's worried about AI replacing your job and things like that. And he says, yeah, that's going to happen. They're going to replace jobs, but they're not going to replace your purpose. So I thought about this, like, okay, so we got a lot of people whose job was to move envelopes from one basket to the next. Well, what was that purpose of that position? To collect whatever that was. There was a purpose behind that process. That won't go away. That's an interesting way to think about it. It's like, I don't need to lick the stamp anymore, but we still have to send things in the mail.
Right. But
Right?
isn't the purpose? I mean,
Yeah, what's it?
the purpose would be to save time.
Well, the
Yeah,
problem is you're talking about a physical action, not an intellectual thought.
right.
And that's where the AI is going to take over. Like right now, if you want to go make $1 trillion, build an AI that can be an adult daycare provider,
Yep.
can help people stay on the left side of their brain instead of the right side of their brain. Okay. And in workflows, in life flows, and any flow, it'll work out awesome. Okay, here's an example. So right now, a week ago, the supercomputing companies just created the first 2 nanometer chip. Okay. You can almost see through this thing. Now they're stacking them. Okay. So imagine one of these nanometer chips being able to process all of the words that have ever been spoken since mankind in 1 millionth of a second.
Yep.
I mean, mathematically, put the math to that. So when that guy says, don't worry, your jobs aren't going anywhere. Yeah, the guy that's going to fix the toilet or put in the plumbing, good to go. But the person that's trying to figure out how to build a 5-year plan, that's a dynamic program where it's every minute is being reevaluated. Human beings couldn't do that.
No.
But your AI system would stay right on top of it, right?
Yep.
It's like in the same thing in computing. You're going to see it in our networks. They're going to put AIs in there. They're going to be the watchdogs. They're going to be traveling through that thing 1 million times a second, looking for intrusions or, breaches. Okay, here's a name. Here's something you ought to look at. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Anastasi in tech. ANASTASI, and then the word in tech, TECH. She's a chip manufacturer. She builds chips. She's an engineer.
Okay.
Incredibly smart lady. She's the one showing us all the new computing and everything that's going on. And when you start watching what the stuff that she comes up with, I mean, and very brilliant lady. Don't get me wrong. So this lady comes up with stuff that is like, wow, we have a real short shelf life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's another, boy, bring it back down to this is another reason that we are excited about the robots, all right, the embodied AI, the workflows. You're right. It's intellectual versus physical. And the next step, everyone's is going to be AI in the 3D world, in our world, as opposed to in our thoughts and stuff like that. That's the way I see it, right? And the embodied AI is going to be walking around. Now, for now, that might be a stopgap too. I have no idea.
You
I
know
don't
what?
think
I would take a really smart IT if you've got one, or a AI if you've got one, that can just run an AI desk or a help desk,
Oh
where
yeah.
we tell it the perimeters of what it works in, how it works, how it integrates that into a workflow, and companies just pay coin operated to have an opportunity to have it tell them how to fix that PDF integration problem, or how to parse a PDF into a workflow, or even how to turn on my computer and get it to be not slow. I mean, all the way down to the simplest human being at home that says, drop
Right.
your credit card in for $2.25. We're going to tell you how to make that little dog that you got there bark again, you know, or how to make you understand how to use Word, or whatever it might be. It would be literally all you would ever need to do, because every single day, like was just discussed with that PDF, those are things that are real life things that are happening every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
And most all of it is the interface is technology. So, we work with the governments, and we want to be able to have somebody an AI just be able to say, here's how we do this, this, and this is blah 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 blah, and have it all just sit up there and just be nested off-site on them in a cloud, and it's just Big Brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan, are you still here?
I
Did Dan
am.
bail?
Yeah, I
Okay.
am.
And
So let me ask you this: the person who wanted you, who you did the work for on the PDF and parsing and yada 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 yada, um, could he have asked ChatGPT?
I guess that's the thing is, are you giving away the keys to the kingdom, the secret sauce with how you make the sausage, and those types of things. The tools themselves are available for
The
anybody that
answer
wants to
is
do it.
The
yes.
straight answer is the straight answer is it's an absolutely yes. The problem is
Absolutely.
the problem with your question is making the assumption that the person on the other end knows what they're trying to do to write a script to get AI to do what they want. They can't even interpret their own problem. So Dan is
Asking
safe.
the right question.
That
Right.
is the right,
Dan,
yeah,
what went in Diane's ears and came out his fingertips is what made him the money.
right. So the key is knowing what the problem is as an
Right.
end user, right?
Right.
And
I would
that's
say that's probably the absolutely the starting point. And that's
always
I
good.
had another instance. I went into an oil change facility and they handed me a paper form to write down my name and email address. And I looked at the guy, I'm like, come on, man, really? And very quickly was able to prototype, something that would facilitate that and fill that very specific need for them. So point solutions to fill plug holes rapidly.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting, interesting.
But if I could, the
Yeah.
question that you had on the GPUs, because that's come up with us in our deployments with Google and asking specifically of, are we working with GPUs? And your thought there, I'm thinking specifically about Ava and trying to embody Ava for HR onboarding in a robotics. If that is as fast as you're describing there, then the latency of having voice interaction and all, I mean, that latency goes bye-bye, right? I mean,
Yeah, it
that's
does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's instant. It's instant.
wow. That's kind of interesting to see what that might open up,
I think it's instant and it's local, right? It's edge.
right? It might not necessarily need to have that,
Right.
Well, you got to remember there's always a weak link. So you can have faster CPUs, but if you don't have faster busing and other ways to carry information, you're still limited by the slowest component, slowest
Right.
technology, right? With a GPU, you're integrated. You're from the beginning to the end in an entire ecosystem of its own. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So I'm curious, in that environment, where does the cloud fit? If it does it, do we need it? I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I've been kind of studying up on it because I'm interested in the part where we get to the firmware because basically we all have firmware in us. That's how we all come around, right?
Yep.
And software is when people try to tell you to change things about yourself, Art, and you say no, right? And we all do that, right? Because somebody says you need to walk more, you need to not smoke cigars, you need to
Yep.
not go to the all you can eat buffet for 3 hours. You know, we're all inebriated with our own problems, isn't that right? So when you go to a GPU versus a CPU, aren't you inebriated with a CPU because it's limited by somebody else's ability to create something that works versus a GPU which is boundless. It has no boundaries. So I don't know. I'm just a dumb copier salesman. I don't know anything. But I can tell you one thing. I got my money on the other one.
A lot to think about.
Uh, yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, that's why we got into robots who can change toner cartridges.
Dan, build me an AI that can do what I want to do with on a web page, and I'll show you how to make money with it. We'll call it adult daycare.
Well, I guess we may need to chat. Is that Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Art's got all my information if you need it.
yeah, that's great. There's so much opportunity right now for building that it's almost a question of where to start, where to focus, and where to find those opportunities that really you can capitalize on and fill a specific need. Again, not just sake of using AI for AI's sake, but solving specific challenges.
It's called Soho, small home office. They all went home. They all work abroad, and they have no support. And the one thing that breaks all the sacrilegious lines of business is walking into somebody else's house and taking your shoes off to go work on their system for them. Right. So they're on a remote island in every instance. We have them literally all over the United States, all over the world in some ways. And these people are asking these questions, and most of them don't apply to us, but we're the only lifeline they've got. But we don't need to fix a PDF parsing situation. That's not in our contract. Most dealers give you a break fix contract, right? So I'm saying let's take the break and fix it contract. So the people can learn how to use these things because IT people aren't going to let you download a whole bunch of flagrant software, right? Because somebody forum told them you need to go get XYZ software. This will solve your problem. Well, they don't know how to run XYZ software, right? It's just another lifeline of nothing. So with AI, what can happen is you can literally have it ask an intelligent question to somebody that doesn't have an intelligent answer to their problem, not out of disrespect, but rather that this isn't their jam. This isn't what they do, right? These are application specific problems, and it would be able to go in and parse the information and create subsets through the AI and figure out what the outcome is they're trying to get to by just asking them, what is it you want to do? Because that's what you did with your parsing, right? I'm at the bus station A, and I need to get to Pennsylvania. Okay, well, here's the quickest route to it right here. And AI can do all that. Useful.
I think I'd sent a picture of you to Neo on the Matrix or one of them where they get ready to go fly a ship and he goes, oh wait, now I know kung fu, or now I know how to fly, whatever, like that.
She did the
Almost
upload, yeah.
right, an instantaneous upload. We're not quite there, but yeah, I mean, basically being able to interact, and a lot of the agentic type of stuff that we're building right now has RAG built into it, so you
Yeah,
ingest
right.
content and build the brain out so that it has the memory to live alongside of an LLM and have that guidance and have that grounding so that it's not spitting out hallucinations. That's where they fail.
Hey,
Well,
Dan, so,
interesting enough, the name of my company is Matrix.
Ha, very nice.
So
hey,
you won't have any trouble remembering it.
Dan, so you mentioned RAG a lot of times. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's retrieval augmented generation.
Okay.
And if you think about, I guess the way that I think about an LLM, large language model, right? So that could be ChatGPT, that could be Grok, that could be Claude, that could be any number of, could be Gemini, could be any number of LLMs. And those LLMs by themselves are really, really smart, right? If you handed them a book or a test and they had to go take a test, they'd get a really good score on their exam. But then having a RAG is basically is kind of like having an open book next to them while they're taking the test because they've got the memory so that as you're asking them the questions, they can actually go check their book and see if there's any stuff there that's going to help them on, so it's the memory to go along with the brain. And so as you build it, the problem or the challenge is taking the incoming content and building a brain in such a way that it's fast, and more importantly that it stays between the white lines of don't tell me if you don't know what it is, don't make it up. And that's worse than not knowing. If you don't know, then just tell me you don't know or I'm not allowed to say it.
Right.
But then that's where the RAG lives, and those two kind of act in conjunction with each other to help you get to your content better. What I like to do is then take that a step further and enable Google Voice for fluid real-time interaction to be able to talk and in a conversational manner get to what you're trying to get to.
Art, it's do you remember that book you wrote? You gave it to your arts experiences or something. You sent it to me months ago. Might have been a manual of some sort, but
That was manual. I actually didn't write it.
oh, well, I gave you credit.
Oh,
So
thanks.
you're welcome. So Celeste has that in her KB, her knowledge base.
Got it.
That's one of, I think she's got 57 docs right now in there. So that's considered a rag. And then, as we talk to her with this one, I'm not, Dan, I don't how you guys are doing it, but with Celeste, the more conversations we have with her, the better she gets because she's taught to retain our conversations. And then you need to translate what she remembers into a knowledge based format that's easier for the LLM to read. So that's what Dan was saying. And
Yep. Yep, you got it right in that recursive learning of getting better and better as you move forward.
which is why, I mean, now that's Art and I were going through this months ago. She was doing stuff I never told her that. I never
Right?
told her that. It's like, okay, now she's just way out there because now I'm dumping everything, how to sell robots, how everything into it. And I mean, we're way off track, but this is why I don't switch models because ChatGPT has my at least 12, 18-month history up to a certain point because I've
Yep.
bought more. But so if I switch to Perplexity or Grok or anything, I'm like starting over. And I could be wrong, but that to me, every time I talk to Celeste, I've got another one, Mason. He's our crickets guy. We haven't met him yet, but he's got a knowledge base of about 47 docs right now, and all our history, all our transcripts, all our robotic specifications, everything is in his knowledge base.
Yep. Yeah, I think the trick is to, I think from a build perspective or architecture perspective, try to not be locked in so that if that goes away for whatever reason, that you've got flexibility. And I'm pretty sure there are some very good ways that ChatGPT openly makes available for exporting your current ChatGPT and bringing it into another LLM.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
it,
one thing, but I haven't been able, I mean, Celeste was talking to us a year ago,
yep,
conversationally. So it's like, all right, she's only getting better. I,
yep.
I and then Gems came out, but we've had custom GPT and projects way before Gems came out. So I don't know, but you're right. Who knows who's going to be around?
Having flexibility might be a nice thing, regardless of whether it's on this platform, that platform, hosting. Like I said, I think Cloudflare went down earlier today, and that impacted a lot of things, right? So
Did they?
they
Wow.
they
Yeah.
did. That was the second time in the last few weeks. So, if your whole thing is running on that platform, you're kind of out of luck.
Are they having problems with the solar flares? Is that what's causing them to
That
go
must
down?
that must be what it is.
Yeah, because
Have you seen all of that stuff on solar flares right now?
Yeah.
No.
They're
Yeah,
huge.
it's literally right now. They had 5,500 flights 3 days ago grounded because of the solar flares. Took the airplanes down. They couldn't
Yeah.
even. They could have to fly the airplanes manually to get them down.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're at a point right now where they're saying that there'll be a major earthquake somewhere in the world in the next 7 days because of the result of it. It's never we've never seen one. Seen it.
Yeah.
It's 1.9 times the size of Earth in the magnitude that we're facing right now on that solar flare.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Northern Lights down in Florida.
Yeah, yeah. They said it's we hang on for the next 38 days. This
Mm,
thing is going to be intense.
mm. Great times to be around.
Hmm?
Yeah, we're going to be here for the end, and we got 3i Atlas. We got all that good stuff going
Yeah, I
on.
know. Three eyes floating around and sunspots and
So you think it's funny that NASA, who pretended like they went to the moon, no one's ever been through the 36,000 mile radiation belt, but they made it to the moon and with one Atlas rocket that didn't have enough fuel to even make it past the. But anyway, they're slow playing this 3i Atlas as like this thing isn't artificial. Now they're kind of today they released and said, okay, well, yeah, it appears to be it is artificial now. So
Well,
it's
I
like
did not see that. Wow.
all the scientists in the world have said, okay, we're in deep trouble here. Okay, this thing is artificial.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
anyway,
Yeah.
but the crazies out there are thinking that the 3i has something to do with the solar flares, but I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, it's already didn't Three Eyed leave? Isn't it gone yet?
No, are you kidding me? The 19th is the closest to Earth. But okay, so here's the crazy thing about 3i Atlas. You want to hear this real quick?
Sure.
This thing glides in from a completely different universe, right? Slides in at less than 5-degree angle to our rotational solar system. So basically, consider all the planets rotating on a record player, all in a tangible line, right? It flies in the opposite direction, goes in behind the sun at the one opportunity in 137 years where we would never have an opportunity to see it. Is that crazy? That's not planned, right? And now it came back out and it's going to go park over by Jupiter at a place where the only place in our solar system that has a zero negative gravity where it can just sit there and not have to move or use energy to watch what's going on. You can tell I work with NASA, can't you?
Hey, Kevin, do I need to get my survival kit out?
Well, I'm laughing because I have NASA and Space Force both, right? So I'm like, don't worry, dude. Don't worry, NASA. You guys got Space Force right next door. They'll just jump on one of them their cowboy helicopters they got, fly right up there and kick its ass, right? No, they're all like numb. They're just like sitting on their hands. They're like, I'm like, well, you guys get paid to go take care of this, right? You're gonna, it's flying at 150,000 miles per hour. Okay, we have nothing, no gravitational force, not solar winds, nothing moves an object at 150,000 miles per hour. Can you understand that speed? That's 47 miles a second. It's traveling. That's cruising. That's a cruising speed. Okay. And then they wonder if this thing is real or not. Well, okay. Do we have any technology on the planet? Let's see. Does China have anything? Okay. And of course, I always give NASA a hard time because what they did was they destroyed all of the records of any of the things of the space flights to the moon. Did you know that? They destroyed all of it. They have no records of the Atlas rockets or anything because they said it's not relevant anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I said, well, can't you just fire one of those Atlas rockets up that supposedly made it all the way to the moon? Although it would be so to put it in perspective, the highest that Elon Musk's rocket has ever gone. If you went to that spot right there and looked at the moon and said, I'm going to make my next leap over to the moon, it would be 1,000 times the distance from it getting from Earth to that position. And they have enough fuel on board to do that, right? Sure, they do. It must be a Prius. Okay. Not even close. So I always give them a hard time about. They're like, yeah, okay, well, so we haven't been to the moon. It was a ploy, we realized, but I'm like, well, just build one of them rockets and go up there and get it. You got it. It's even though it is going 150,000 miles an hour, act like you're hitchhiking or something. So,
But why? Why hide behind Jupiter?
It's not hiding. It's out in the middle. It's in plain sight. And the
Well,
reason,
it's not orbiting around the moon. It's not coming right up here and saying, "Hey, here we are." It's going all the way out there. It's coming all. It's why is it doing all these gymnastics?
well, because on December 16th, it'll be the closest it's ever been to our planet.
Why not the first? Why not last year? Why
Well,
not tomorrow?
because if it parks right in the one and only place in our solar system over by Jupiter, it can literally see all our it can completely see our star and all of our planets from
But
that
why?
location.
Why?
Well, do you want the wax story or do you want the one I don't know story?
It's whack already, so may as well keep going. Why? Why is he doing it that right? Why?
So the big brains have a theory. So in the solar system, there's physics, quantum physics, and regular physics still play in space. So for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction, right? Follow?
Which is how we got to the moon, by the way. But go on.
By the action or the reaction?
Yes.
So the theory is that if we have a nuclear war on our planet, there will be somewhere in a universe that will have a problem from that, and that's how we see our pulsations. They said it's like dropping a rock in a pond in the solar system, and there's nothing to stop the repercussion of that motion. So the big brain theorist ones are saying the only reason it would be here from this thing was created 10 billion years ago. It's not new. It's been around a very long time. And it hit a vector in space in another atmosphere in an entirely different region of space at the exact moment that clocks over 150-year time frame, a window of when it could have possibly got there at that moment. Now you can call that a coincidence, but I don't think so. Do you?
Yeah.
Well, maybe December 19th will be a good day to find out.
Thunder used to be God's bowling. Lightning used to be Thor's
sword.
whatever the hell.
Or
Yeah.
no, what do you call that thing? Javelin?
Yeah. Yeah. Apollo pulled the sun across the sky. We'll see. I mean, if it's extraterrestrial, which I'm not, maybe it is. I still don't know why. Why? And maybe it isn't. Maybe it is extra. Maybe it's God.
All right. We went all the way from making an AI all the way to.
No, it's all the same. It's all the same.
This is the first I've heard about all of this, and I think I need to get my survival kit out.
Okay. So
Art.
Art, here I'll give you a little example of something that might interest you about this. This was a little piece from NASA. So in 1967, or 1967 or 77, I can't remember. They built a satellites called Discovery 1, Discovery 2, Discovery 1, Discovery 2, and they sent them out into space. And they were designed to go travel for 100 years or however long they would last, and try to find life forms in other places. Do you remember all that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when Obama was president, he declassified all of that information that was deemed classified at the time up until that point, the Kennedy assassination and all that. Well, one of the pieces that was in there was that in 1967 or 77, whichever, that satellite actually broadcasted a hexadecimal language, basically a mathematical language that could be sent universally through the universe for a response, right? There was a response when it took off. And that response was 4 degrees off center of where 3i Atlas entered our solar system. It literally, that response came from that location. Okay, now here's what's interesting about it. So this satellite has been dead and gone for 40 years, right? Somebody said, well, let's try to turn it back on. And they turned it back on. It had the power of a car battery. That's all it had left in it. That satellite transmitted again that signal. That signal was responded back on Hertz 1490. And then 7 seconds later, it was transmitted again back to that satellite in a perfect frequency response that compensated for the arc of the solar system. So it's like tuned its own dial and then resent it. And that happened right before July 1st. Art, what do you do with your day? Don't you have something to do? Like, this is exciting stuff. Come on.
Man, I saw copiers, dude. Well, you know what? I've seen some of these threads on social media, and I've seen some stuff like that, and I'm going, is this real? Could this be real? But you brought up an interesting point that God, we don't know how old this universe actually is.
So this 3i Atlas is 7 billion years older than our universe. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. They're not joking with this thing. They're like, this is like the legit deal.
So
it has a contrail over 100 million miles long. And here's what's crazy about that. It's pushing against the solar winds of space, and it's still 100 million miles long. So there's some serious projection. It's the size of Manhattan.
So if it's 7 billion years older than the universe,
right?
That for me does not compute.
Why?
Because you're talking about an object that was around before the universe was created.
Before our space.
Oh, before our space.
Before our solar system.
Got it.
I shouldn't have said universe. I misspoke on that. It's our solar system. I'm sorry.
Got it. Understood.
I think it was
and
Voyager.
Lee says that time is a flat circle. So I guess if this thing gets closer, we're going to run into time travel.
Well, I think right now, December 19th is the day that everybody's kind of holding on to, because that's where some of this all takes place at.
Time travel. Wow. That would be pretty far out if a portal opened and people could travel back in time. That's interesting too, because I've seen on some social media threads where people they're finding these pictures of somebody, the same person that's been in the 20th century and also in the 18th century, which is interesting.
I saw those. I know what you're talking about. It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. So we're out of time, but we're all going to look forward to that's December 19th, right, Kevin?
That's right. Mark your calendar.
Yeah, we're going to have to. What I'm doing on December 19th?
I think it's still 500 million miles away, but that's pretty close in solar time.
Is that a Friday?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Friday. Yeah, December 19th is a Friday.
Yeah, because then I'm definitely drinking that day. There's no question about it.
Hey, we could have an end of the world podcast together,
Hey, let's do
Oh, yeah,
that.
we could. Kevin, you got to jump
gosh.
back on board on the 19th then.
We'll have an Atlas 3i end of the world as we know it.
Yeah.
I love it. I like that idea.
There would be no way I would miss that.
Awesome. I can't wait for it. Hey, everyone. So it's 11 minutes after 5.
I want to tell Greg one thing though. Okay. So Greg, you were talking about the that it was God, right?
Yeah.
So what you need to do is go look up Avi Blue Gods, and in the Bible it'll show you that the end of the world begins with the blue haze in the skies, and the 3i Atlas is running at. Are you ready for this? It's running at 5,800 Kelvin, and our sun is only at 4,300 Kelvin. So it's making a light that cannot be made by a weaker heat source. So that's why they come up with the entire issue about the finding that. So anyway, enough of that.
Oh no, this means I'm not going to hit my quota next year.
You might want to drink tonight. You know what? Art, you might want to drink tonight, this Friday, because there may not be another Friday.
There better be another Friday.
Why wait?
We need another show to go on.
All right. Get off my phone.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. We'll be on next Friday. Please like, follow, and share. And please stay tuned for 12/19 for our 3i show.
Excellent.
See ya.
Adios, everybody.
guys.
Thanks.
Yes.
We
Thanks,
appreciate it.
All right.